Let's get some reaction now. Diptyque Laurent is here to take us through how the press is reacting to this military operation in Ukraine.
Well, let's show you the front page of the New York Times today, Stuart. In fact, the American papers did have time, I think, to alter their front pages with the news of this military operation. The New York Times going with a headline, Russia attacks as Putin warns the world, Biden vowing to hold him accountable, really sums up this Thursday morning's news. Global leaders indeed have swiftly condemned the invasion. U.S. President Joe Biden is vowing to hold him accountable. Putin declares war. That's how the British paper, the Daily Mail, said, put it on its front page this morning, there in bold, really echoing what Putin didn't explicitly say, but what is visibly happening in Ukraine.
You've been looking at some of the reactions from the Russian press as well.
Well, a lot of denial from the pro-government Russian Russian websites. You see it clearly on the website of the publication Izvestia. The Russian armed forces did not carry out rocket, air and artillery strikes in the cities of Ukraine. It says rather high-precision weapons were used to incapacitate Ukrainian aviation and military infrastructure. The publication quotes the Russian Ministry of Defense on its website there. Furthermore, it quotes the ministry as saying no citizen populations are being threatened. Another Russian publication, a nationalist publication called the Svobodnaya Pressa, relates much of the same information coming out of the Russian Foreign Ministry. It also accuses Ukraine of wanting to arm all those who can hold a gun against Russian separatists in the country.
What about the Ukrainian press? How are they reporting, Dipty, on the military operation?
Well, the reaction from them is rather defiant, Stuart, at least from this publication. The editor-in-chief of Censor, who says he's near Donetsk in the east of the country, writes in this editorial today that this is one of the darkest times in Ukraine's history, but it is at these times that a nation is built, that it is created. He calls on his compatriots to not be scared because Ukraine will win. That's what the headline there reads, rather triumphantly. Today's the time to show that Ukraine is united. So he's really striking a hopeful, optimistic, positive tone in this editorial.
Now, of course, several world leaders tried to meet with Vladimir Putin in recent days to avert this crisis, Emmanuel Macron amongst them. And Dipty's found a lot of analysis around why the West failed to thwart this Russian invasion.
Well, it is interesting. On one hand, you have this Financial Times journalist here who argues that among those world leaders, notably French President Emmanuel Macron, really positioned himself as the spokesperson for the West, and he tried and failed to deter Vladimir Putin. Now, the writer in this article blames Macron's overconfidence about his powers of persuasion and perhaps his affliction by, quote, romantic notions of France's historical relationship with Russia. We know that those diplomatic talks are futile, and in fact, the writer here explains that leaders knew it too, but they had to do it so that they could say they tried, even if they knew it wasn't going anywhere. The Telegraph, on the other hand, says that the West is in part to blame for Vladimir Putin's growing hatred of the West. They cite a few examples of the international community's disregard of Russian concerns over the intervention in Kosovo in 1999, the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and the bombing of Libya. But the Telegraph says, I quote, only one man started this war, and the blunt fact is that it is not clear he ever wanted peace.
Finally, from Dipty, we're going to have a look at some of the illustrated press. What are they saying?
Well, the government-run Chinese paper Global Times clearly sides with Russia in this cartoon today. They blame the U.S. as being the true fire starter for this crisis in Ukraine. And you have Uncle Sam there pouring flames onto the fire, saying, why can't China do more to help put out the fire? Let's end with this front page from the conservative magazine Spectator, who sees Vladimir Putin as Vlad the Invader. This cartoon from Morton Moreland sees Putin solitary in a much too large Soviet uniform. Has he finally lost control? The publication wonders.
Dipty, thank you very much, Diptyque Laurent, giving us some reaction from the press there here on France 24.